The suspects, they say, opened fire in the Bronx last night as they rode past the street corner on scooters. I'm sitting up.
My apologies, but we can't hear the meeting.
I can't hear the meeting neither, Pat. This is Beatrice.
Okay, we're back, I think. I can hear you, B. I assume.
Can you hear me? You could all hear me. Folks joining us by Zoom, can you hear us now?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Apologies for that. Continuing with elected officials, for those appearing virtually, you could raise your hand in the Zoom and we will call on you. Edward Cerna from Councilmember Alexa Aviles' office.
Hello, everyone. Thank you, Chair. Edward Serrano, Chief of Staff for Councilmember Alexa Aviles. I want to start today by wishing everybody who celebrated the month of Ramadan.
Edward, you're unmuted, but we can't hear you.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you,
Still can't hear
everyone.
you.
No? Can you hear me? Hello?
Yep.
How about now? Hello?
Jeremy, I can hear Edward. Hold on one second, Edward.
Okay.
They can do it. We can't.
Edward, can you try that again?
The people on Zoom.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can.
Wait, was that a yes? Sorry.
Yes, that was a yes, Edward.
Okay, great. All right. So, thank you, Chair, and everyone. Edward Cerna here, Chief of Staff for Councilmember Alexa Vilas. Just wanted to start by wishing everybody who celebrated the month of Ramadan a happy Eid. Tomorrow, the City Council will be hosting an Eid, and sorry for mispronunciation, Al-Fatir in City Hall. That'll be in the council chambers. Doors open at 5, and there will be a program at 5:30. There will be some food, so if anybody is interested in doing that, you're all invited. An update on the budget. As many of you know, and I have reported previously, on March 4th, the City Council kicked off its preliminary budget hearings. And at this juncture, the council has released on April 1st, released its response to the mayor's budget. The council response looks to restore major mayoral cuts to key city agencies. And additionally, the council is prioritizing capital investments to preserve and build social housing and expand home ownership opportunities in New York. As I've reported previously, the council member position has always been that the city of New York is one of the richest cities in the world. We have the revenues to make our libraries, our schools, our communities whole, expand the capacity of city services. And so she pledges to keep fighting for our fair share of city resources. I also want to invite folks to a car-free Earth Day that's coming up. That'll be April 20th at 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. It's part of a citywide initiative to create more open spaces, and this will be it's being sponsored by the New York City DOT. And that for our community, there'll be several of these like car-free Earth Days and closed streets across the city. For us here in Sunset Park, it'll be on 44th Street and Fifth Avenue. So that'll be from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. Again on Saturday, April 20th. I also want to speak to some news that's being amplified around proposed shelter in 25th Street. We have spoken to DHS. The site in question is being looked at, but there is nothing that has been finalized. So I know our office has received a lot of incoming around it, and I'll have more news to share moving forward. But at this juncture, again, nothing has been finalized. It is the only thing we can confirm is that it is being looked at. Additionally, would say that our office, as always, we are a community of immigrants and folks who have come to the city and near the country, and so we have to handle it delicately, right? So we'll have more to report moving forward, but I guess I'll leave it at that, and happy to take any questions. Thank you all.
Thank you, Edward. Any questions for Edward at Councilmember Avilas's office? Amazing. Edward, you are off the hook. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Chair. Take care, everyone.
And next we have Serena from Assemblymember Lester Chang's office.
Serena, you can unmute yourself. You can unmute yourself.
Hi, good evening, everyone. Thank you for having me. My name is Serena. I am from Assemblyman Lester Chang's office. First of all, I would like to say happy Eid to the ones that celebrate it. Our office is located at 6904 for Hamilton Parkway. So I deal with constituents and I deal with problems they have regarding SNAP, food stamps, housing, public housing, and other problems that they have in the community. So squatters is an issue going on in our local community. A lot of constituents have been coming to our office and asking for questions. So my chief of staff and I are working alongside with many constituents. If you have any problems or concern, you're more than welcome to attend to or go to our office and attend to some of our meetings. Once again, we're located at 6904 Fort Hamilton Parkway, and we are having a couple events at our office. We will be having a citizenship class on May 2nd, and a second of all, we'll be having an Earth Day poster uh, event. So if you have any students, children that are willing to send their artwork, their essay to Assemblyman, we will give them an award as a recognition. All right, thank you and have a wonderful evening, everyone.
Thank you. Any questions for the Assembly Member's Office? Seeing none, thank you so much, Serena.
Thank you.
Francesca from Senator Gennadis's office.
Hi, everyone. Good evening. I'm Francesca. I'm Senator Gennadis's scheduler. I just wanted to remind everybody that next Saturday, so April 27th, we're having a shredding event at St. Ansel parking lot. It's gonna be from 10 to 1. If you have any like or electronic waste that you'd like to bring, please come and bring it. We take pretty much everything, and then we'll shred your papers as well until the trucks leave us. But yeah, please come by if you have anything you'd like to recycle. We're also here if you have any like questions or concerns. If anybody here today has a specific concern or question about housing or about homeownership that I could ask, I have a meeting tomorrow that I could float the question and get some answers. I know this is like very last minute, but if you have any type of question or concern at all, please grab me after the meeting and I'm more than happy to help. But I have papers this time. I remember my posters, so I'll have them outside. But if anybody needs anything, can grab me.
Thank you, Francesca.
Thanks, guys.
Any questions for the Senator's office? Jerry,
Yep.
1 second.
Forget it, withdraw my question, I do this. I'll say without doubt. Walk, it was a simple question. Sorry, why did, sorry. Oh, it was better, thank you.
It's not 10 to 1 on the 27th. I have more, as far as like, they'll be out there in a minute.
Thank you.
So I don't see any of the names I read.
Any other elected official representatives in person or virtually? Okay. So we still have not achieved a quorum, but we are going to move right along. Are there any members of the public who came this evening to speak on an item on the agenda today? Going one more time. Any members of the public who is here this evening who would like to speak on an item on the agenda? Okay. Zooming on by.
There, that's not on the agenda.
So some quick committee reports. The executive committee held a workshop 2 or 3 weeks ago now at this point, on homeowners protecting the generational wealth. It was a very informative workshop. We had some guest speakers, to the 2 Kings County Circuit Court judges, Judge Rosemary Montalbano, Judge Bernard Graham, and the Neighbors Helping Neighbors program manager, Anthony Coker, attended. I encourage folks to catch the recording. It was incredibly informative. And that's pretty much that for that committee meeting. Are there any questions from the committee report for the executive committee? Okay. Moving on to transportation, there is also no vote required, but I will open it to the chair and or vice chair if they'd like to add something.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Great. Thank you. You can hear me fine? Great. All right, my name is Katie Walsh. I am the chair of the Transportation Committee for Community Board 7. John DeLuper is the vice chair. We had a meeting on April 3rd for our Transportation Committee. There were 2 discussion items, one presentation and one discussion. Do you need to sit down?
Yep.
You're okay. Okay. So the first one was a presentation from EDC and the New York City DOT on a study, and that study recommended one-way conversions on First Avenue and Second Avenue. So this was a follow-up to something that EDC and DOT shared in a Sunset Park Task Force meeting about that they had applied for a grant, which is it's a raise grant to the federal government for implementation of the one-way conversions for First and Second Avenue. It's the first time that we had heard about this as an update, so we had asked them to come and present to the Transportation Committee. In that meeting, we provided to everybody that is on the community board, it's available, we provided the study recommendations that recommended the conversions, and we also included the minutes in that meeting. They made a commitment to us that they would come back, they being EDC and DOT, that they would come back to Community Board 7, that they would come back to the community at large and do community engagement ahead of any further action on the proposal for First and Second Avenue. At that meeting, we had representatives from the hospital who came. We had some residents, some neighbors who also came out. So again, I would say stay tuned, and we expect them to come back once they find out if they have the raise grant funds, which is at some point in June. The other item on the agenda was the BQE revisioning project. That is something that the city started a process over a year and a half ago on revisioning the BQE. This is not just for the BQE that's in our part of the district, it's BQE South, it's BQE North. We left time in that meeting for discussion. We had public comment as well. We have representatives who spoke at the meeting and then also followed up after from Southwest Brooklyn Industrial Corporation, the Fifth Avenue Committee, Neighbors Helping Neighbors, Uprose, and Transportation Alternatives were some of the organizations that were there, as well as some neighbors and residents and Transportation Committee members. The thing that we should all be aware of is that the city in mid-March found out that it did win the federal grant for reconnecting communities. So this is a $5.6 million grant to re-envision the BQE. So the proposal for the consultations and the workshops that had happened, there was a initial proposal for BQE South that was shared in community meetings in November of 2023. And so that was why we gathered, we've been gathering feedback and learning from, and trying to understand with the proposal that came in, what the response has been from the community. So in summary, what we heard is that the proposals for BQE South for our community in Sunset Park fall far short of what we expect in this community. There are other communities that are being promised commitments around parks, additional amenities, additional interventions that will actually address issues related to traffic, transportation, pollution, and noise. And that is not what is being proposed for this community in BQE South. So resoundingly, we expect more from DOT, and in the next steps, if they're proposing to do any further revisioning and work for reconnecting communities. Frankly, in our neighborhood, if you look at the proposal, it doesn't even touch the BQE. It doesn't do anything on the BQE itself. It doesn't address any of the hazards that we've heard from any of the community engagement sessions, like pollution, like the pieces of the BQE that fall off the BQE onto Third Avenue in our neighborhood. We were really disappointed and frustrated by the lack of participation from the state of New York not being at the table. This is a constant issue in this community where the state of New York Transportation Department is not involved and not showing up for this community on these issues. And so again, it's really critical that at this stage where the city is undertaking a revisioning for BQE South, that Sunset Park is part of a larger transformational long-term vision. They are coming to our meeting on May 1st.
So that is your next step, is please come to our May 1st Transportation Committee. We'll hear a little bit more from DOT about the Reconnecting Communities grant and what next steps look like for engagement. Thank you.
Thank you, Katie. Any questions for Katie and or the Transportation Committee report from board members only? Apologies. Seeing none. Thank you, Katie. We have yet to reach quorum, but we still need to follow some parliamentary procedures. So we are going to call the roll to confirm that we do not have a quorum and then proceed from there.
Evening, everybody. When I call your name, please acknowledge. If you are joining us on Zoom, please remember to unmute yourself, acknowledge your name, and then mute yourself again. Let's start with Grisel Amador. We'll get back to Damian Andrade. Joan Gotti.
Yeah.
Thank you. Gladys Bruno. Gladys, if you're joining us on Zoom, please unmute yourself. Jerry Chan.
Here.
Thank you. Esteban Chavez.
Here.
Thank you. Richard Codor. John DeLuca.
Here.
Thank you. Beatrice DeSapio.
Present.
Thank you. B, you do not count towards quorum. Rubino Morales Escamilla.
Present.
Thank you. Rubino, you do not count towards quorum. Cynthia Felix. John Fontillis. Kin Fung. Thank you. Cynthia Gonzalez. Thank you. Diana Gonzalez. Thank you. Hector Gonzalez. Kenny Guan. Nicole Huang. Thank you. Nicholas Jackson. Thank you. Jeremy Kaplan. Thank you. Beverly Kleinman. Quiet, please. Wyco.
Yeah.
Thank you. Barbara Lee. Christina Lem. Angie Lau. Thank you. Paul Mack. Antoinette Martinez.
Here.
Thank you. Antoinette, you do not count towards quorum. Marilyn Melman. Thank you. Rosie Mota. Thank you. Jamie Nelson.
Here.
Thank you. Julio Pena III.
Here.
Thank you. Karen Romick.
Here.
Thank you. Joanna Romero. Joanna
Here.
Romero. Thank
Here.
you. Joanna, you do not count towards quorum. Patricia Ruiz.
I'm here.
Thank you. Pat, you do not count towards quorum. Damaris Santiago.
Present.
Thank you. Damaris, you do not count towards quorum. Sam Sierra.
Present.
Thank you. Ryan Smith.
Here.
Thank you. Karina Sorma.
Here.
Thank you. Okay, you do not count towards quorum. Victor Swinton. Cindy Vandenbosch.
Present.
Thank you. Cindy, you do not count towards quorum. Catherine Walsh. Thank you. Cesar Zuniga. Grisel Amador.
Present.
Thank you.
A quorum has been established. I'd like to officially open the, I'm gonna say April board meeting of 2024. I would like to move to adopt the agenda as provided in the email and printed copy today. Is there a motion to adopt the agenda?
Motion to adopt.
Motion by Joan Body, seconded by Jerry Chan. Is there any objection to adopting the agenda via unanimous consent? Seeing or hearing none, the agenda is adopted. I'd like to move to adopt the minutes of the March 20th, 2024 board meeting as presented.
I make the motion.
Motioned by, Joan and seconded by Sam Sierra. Is there any objection to adopting the minutes of March 20th via unanimous consent? Seeing or hearing none, the minutes are adopted. So we went through public comment. Thank you. So with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. So I did see some other elected official reps come in. So I will give them the floor, and I'm gonna go in the order they arrived. Myra from Congressman Dan Goldman's office.
Hi, everyone. Good evening. Here, Myra Molina from Congressman Golden's office. I'm field deputy caseworker. I'm just here to let you guys know that we have a congressional art competition happening. And the deadline would be May 3rd. Okay. So, and you know, any high school will be reaching out to high schools in the district, but you know, any students, any individuals in high school that are into art, we would like them to submit their artwork as soon as possible. Also, the Congress member has been pushing a lot for abortion care rights and just access to abortion, women's health, reproductive care. And that's it. Thank you. Have a good night.
Thank you, Myra. Any questions for the Congressman's office? Okay. Mania from Borough President Antonio Reynoso's office.
Hi, everyone. Good evening. My nephew, Director of Policy at the Office of Brooklyn Borough President. A couple of exciting announcements tonight. So BP Reynoso recently released his 2024 K-12 graduation award applications early this past month. So if you are a school administrator and would like to nominate graduating students for the awards, we are providing awards in 3 different categories. You can, and these are for public, private, and charter schools. You can nominate up to 1 graduating student per category, and administrators can visit the Contact Us section of our website to nominate students. The deadline is May 17th at 5 p.m. Our office is also accepting applications for new and inaugural Youth Advisory Council. This will be a youth-based group for rising junior and senior students in high school that would allow students to work with us to learn a little more about civics and to develop their own youth agenda. It is going to be a year-long program that we're launching starting in September of next year up until June. September of this year up until June of next year. So if you have any students who are interested, I will leave some flyers out, or if you know if any high school students are interested, I'm leaving some flyers out at the front. The deadline to apply is May 31st. We are also accepting applications for civics-based youth-serving organizations to apply as technical assistance providers to support us in administering this program. So if you have or know of any community-based organizations that are interested in participating in this manner, the deadline to apply for that as a technical assistance provider is April 22nd next week. Next, our Borough President Reynoso also delivered his annual State of the Borough speech on March 13th. Thank you for those of you who were able to attend. If you were not able to attend, the recording is available on YouTube. One thing that we had mentioned was, of course, our community boards, and we are very excited to share that last year, Brooklyn Knights responded to the BP's call for community board applications at a resounding 28% increase compared to, in 2022, committee board members or community board candidates responded with a resounding 28% increase compared to 2021. Which, you know, we are very proud of course, and kudos to all of you in this room who have expressed interest in participating. This year, our applications have reached 1,000 once again. So again, thank you for spreading the word. Community board applicants have not yet received a response to their applications. We are still in this decision, so we will be, of course, letting everyone know once decisions are being made. And then lastly, also on March 13th, Borough Hall partnered with Mayor Adams to open our doors as satellite asylum application help center. Borough President Reynoso has said that we need all hands on deck to aid our city through the situation. So our office is doing our part in offering essential resources to asylum seekers. We don't make appointments within the office, but appointments are being made by social workers at the respective shelter sites. So, but this is of course for your awareness, and we are happy to do our part to ensure that asylum seekers receive the services that we serve. And that's it for me. Thank you so much. Have a great night.
Thank you, Manyak. Any questions for Manyak in the Borough President's office? Cynthia Gonzalez, you had a question, Manyak.
Hang on.
Brooklyn being the largest borough in New York City, and you guys having received 1,000 community board applications from the borough of Brooklyn, how many of those applications came from CB7?
So I was actually directly involved in interviewing candidates for CB7. If I recall correctly, we had somewhere between 35 to 37 applicants for CB7.
Thank you.
Thank you, Manyak. Am I missing any other elected officials, representatives, either in person or online? Okay.
Don't see any hands up.
So moving to the chairperson's report, just have a couple of items. Earlier this month, on April 5th, myself, Katie and Damaris met with EDC. As I mentioned last month, we are holding monthly check-ins to make sure to know what projects are upcoming and anything that needs to be in our timeline. The only thing I'll add to that is stay tuned for an upcoming meeting in regards to the Pier 6 redesign, Pier 6 design. And that should be coming up soon. As per our bylaws, Article 7, Section 5, I will be announcing the nominating committee in the next couple of days. It is an election year for us, so our bylaws call for the creation of a nominating committee, and I should have that out in the next couple of days, hopefully. So stay tuned for that. And lastly, our June meeting, I just wanted to give a friendly reminder that we've moved it up 1 week, so it is not June 19th. It is June 12th. And since we will be conducting elections, my request is that all members attend in person so that we can participate in the election. And that is it for the chair's report. Any questions? Katie Walsh? The question was, can you say what the elections are for? Thank you, Katie. The elections are for the officers of the executive committee. So the chairperson, myself, first vice chairperson, second vice chairperson, secretary, assistant secretary, treasurer, and community engagements officer. And the sergeant at arms and assistant sergeant at arms. Thank you, Chairman. And yeah, treasurer. I think after 8 years, I would know that by now. Joan?
So the entire executive committee board is up for election this year?
Yes, some members are term limited. We're limited by two-year terms, and some are not. So I think it's 3 members are term limited. Jeremy Kaplan.
I just wanted to ask for further updates from the EDC meeting, if they discussed anything around, the Pier 6 survey, I think was reopened. Do you know how long that's open for? And then also, when did they discuss anything around the next time that they would do some sort of outreach or, conversation that they had with the council member's office, which was, I guess, maybe a month ago? I'm just curious if they're gonna update on, if they're gonna do more of that regularly. They said they would try to do that stuff more, and the council member's office said as well that they wanted to.
To answer your first question, I don't know the timeline for the extension for the survey. I think when we met, it was extended till that day, that Friday, but I don't know if it was extended prior, but we can ask unless Jeremy knows that information. And in regards to outreach, I do believe they will be doing, or they'll be having another public design meeting for Pier 6. I think the timeline was this summer, but don't, late summer or early September. Katie's gonna correct me because my memory is shot.
So what I heard them say is that they are trying to bring the Pier 6 proposal design in front of the Public Design Commission in June. And they're moving fast. And so what we said was there needed to be a community engagement session because the one that they had at the high school was not representative and not diverse and did not have enough people. So there were 2 things, there were 2 actions. There was supposed to be another public meeting, and also they were going to come to the Economic Development Committee and do a presentation. But this is a really aggressive timeline that they are on. And I don't know the PDC date, but I would hope that this stuff would be announced as soon as possible.
Thank you, Katie. Any other questions? Okay, moving on to the district manager's report.
Good evening, everyone. Earlier today, board member John Johnston resigned, leaving us with 42 members. Regarding 225 25th Street, which Edward Cerna brought up, which is rumored to be a shelter. We have asked the mayor's office, we have asked the Department of Homeless Services, neither of them would confirm that, but we've done our homework. We went to the Department of Buildings, and we found they have building permits to build a shelter. So we have not received any confirmation from the mayor's office or DHS on this. Without knowing what type of shelter it is, since they haven't informed us, we don't know what process it would take, whether we have a say in it or not. Once we get that information, we will certainly share it with all of our board members and constituents. Raising Health, which is formerly AMPHS, organization on 3rd Avenue, is holding a spring health fair. There are flyers in 4 languages out on the table. It is coming up this Saturday, April 20th at St. Agatha's Church on 49th Street and 7th Avenue between 12 and 3 p.m. There will be free dental exams, glucose testing, blood pressure exams, and BMI. If you remember last month, you will know that our board, along with Board 10, has engaged with the MTA about cleaning up the Long Island Railroad cut along our southern border. It has still not been scheduled. They are complaining that it's a much bigger job than they realized, and they are trying to coordinate with a number of other agencies, including the Department of Homeless Services. No editorial comment on that. The South Brooklyn Marine Terminal's environmental cleanup at the Brownfield site is starting April. I don't know if they've started yet. I just have an April date. It is supposed to last for 27 months. They will be removing up to 1 foot of soil to clean and replacing or placing clean backfill over it. The plan for the cleanup is available on a flash drive in my office if anybody would like to review it. And speaking of adding soil, you may have noticed that they are adding soil to the 4th Avenue median planters. So I have been told they are going to plant up the medians, at least some of the medians, this spring. So we are keeping an eye on all of those. If anybody sees some of them being planted or not, please let us know. Equinor held a meeting in this room on April 20th regarding their progress for the wind facility at the South Brooklyn Marine Terminal. They showed a new rendering and named the first recipients of their community fund. All except one were located in our district, and the other one does provide services locally. So they're moving towards beginning construction, but it does not look like the facility will be open until the last quarter of 2026, assuming construction goes on time. Julio, Katie, and I may have been missing a couple of others because I couldn't see the names, attended a meeting with DOT regarding the dining out program, which is the new outdoor dining program that's replacing the current sheds that are there. Their process, it seems extremely confusing. And we are trying to get them to come to the board to give our board members the training on what we should be looking for, how we should be judging these different applications. We have one application that's in already. It will be coming up at the Transportation Committee meeting on May 1st. And this will be a learning process for all of us. On May 6th, the Land Use Committee will be holding its first meeting on the City of Yes for Housing Opportunities. The application for the zoning text amendment has not yet been certified, so our clock has not started. However, with the summer coming up, and likely we will only have 60 days to review, it's likely we will have to vote on this in June. We're hoping to have another land use committee prior to the June board meeting, but of course, with our June board meeting moved up, that's 1 week less of review time. Liquor licenses, since the last time we met, there have been 10 new and renewal applications. Cannabis licenses, 0, and dining out applications, 1, as I mentioned. And then finally, the police department statistics are on the back table for anybody who wants to look through it. Actually, one other thing, 2 other things. One of the things is Open Streets for Earth Day has already been mentioned. Got a letter I've never seen this type of letter before in our mail today from the New York State Parks, Recreation and Historic Preservation, I guess, Department, regarding Bush Terminal, that they are considering it for State Board for Historic Preservation on June 12th, same day as our June board meeting. Nomination for the National and Historic Register of Historic Places. If you know the Historic Register for historic places, we have one of the largest, perhaps the largest urban national registers in the country, in this community, and it means next to nothing.
Any questions, for the district manager? And
Speak loud.
Nope, people won't be able to hear.
Just going back to the optional wage authority, I'm wondering, did applicants talk at all about labor standards that they're committing to maintain either like both on-site and I think that I saw in the proposal that they're constructing new substations. Do they have anything to say about that? And if not, do you know if there's like anything that we can do to put pressure in that area?
So I'm not sure what you mean by labor standards. I know they're a union shop, both construction and for operations.
Oh.
And Edward?
Could I ask if there was any updated information about the property on Prospect or height limitations?
So somebody just asked that online, so instead of typing to him, I will say I asked this week, that's the Arrow Linen property, Jerry Mulvaney, just asked about that. I asked this week for city planning. The application has not yet been certified, so there's nothing additional that they have to share with us.
Any other questions? Okay, moving on to old business. Does any member of the board have any old business? Does any member of the board have any new business? So, come on up.
United Student Center will have the annual Grandparents' Day celebration. They're gonna be on April 24 and will be 10 to 1. They're gonna be at United Student Center Sunset Park, 475 53rd Street. You all have a special invitation. Will be very nice event and the seniors will participate with all organizations there. May 17, we're gonna have our 50th the senior center, 50 years in the Sunset Park community. And me, almost 10 years we are working there. You all have a special invitation, okay? Thank you. Thank you.
Jerry, can I see your hand up?
Yeah. I would get up, I don't like. I just want to be closer to you. Evening, so I have new business, like every meeting I do have new business. What I noticed, right, our community is growing, board is changing, right, I heard tonight for the first time that we have 37 applications coming to the board, so I think it's one. So what I noticed, now I'm sitting towards the back, right, that we need to invest into translators to come in and translate for the board meetings. And the reason I'm saying that, sitting back there, all I see Nicole's holding a phone, trying to capture to translate. Right, so I'm proposing or I'm asking, can we look into how we get funding or how we get resource to come in to do translation, not just Chinese, right? I'm talking about we are a community of immigrants, right? Have other languages available in case we have board member, new ones coming in. English is not the primary language. That's fine. Thank you.
Thank you, Jerry. Yes. We do provide translation services. As we know, our board budget is very small. If we were to provide translation at every board meeting, we would run out of money before the end of the fiscal year. That being said, we did invest, when we did have money, a lot of funds into upgrading this room so that we can be more accessible, but also offer closed captioning and better translation services. So what I would say is reach out to your council member. This is the budget process right now. And asking them to invest so that we can afford to do translation services at every public meeting. Thank you for elevating that, Jerry. Antoinette?
Hi, everyone. This is Antoinette Martinez with the Housing Committee. I just want to provide a quick update that on Wednesday, April 24th, the Housing Committee will be hosting a working meeting to review four previously recorded DCP presentations, and that's the Department of City Planning. And these presentations are about 20 minutes long each on the City of Yes for Housing Opportunity. And these are components including their public scoping meeting that happened, I believe, in September. The other three presentations are called Missing Middle Housing Types, Diverse Housing Types, and Universal Affordability. And again, this is a working meeting. I am not an expert on City of Yes for Housing Opportunity. This is really just an opportunity for folks on the committee and folks on the board just to be able to plug in on those presentations. And the hope is really just that we'll be able to have some context before the Department of City Planning comes in May to conduct their presentations. If you're not, if this is something that you're not interested, if you want to come in and really just view these presentations on your own, they are available on YouTube. The link is available on the agenda. But if you just Google the Department of City Planning, you'll be able to find these presentations on their website. But I did just want to hold space so that we could come together and review these. And then also in May, the Housing Committee will be working with the FDNY to schedule a fire safety presentation. And this is really in response to the number of fires that have occurred in the district, especially affiliated with e-bikes. If you know of any organizations that are willing to collaborate, let me know. It would be great if we could do something in the neighborhood with another partner. Doesn't have to be in the community board office. Just really want to get as many folks in the community plugged in. Thank you.
Thank you, Antoinette. Any other new business? I see Jamie and then Pat.
So, I would have done a lot of talking about the open meetings law and whether or not we can make one by the internet. So I don't know if folks are aware, but the Department of New York State Committee on Open Government writes actually advisory opinions. And I don't know if folks are familiar with the advisory opinion that was actually issued in December of 2023. It was essentially right at the end of last year. So I did a deep dive into this, and it actually circles us back to, it actually states that the approval of a majority of members present at a meeting following compliance with the open meetings law. It's okay as long as quorum is met. And then it says as defined by general construction law, section 41. So then if you open general construction law, section 41, it actually allows quorum to be met virtually. So I have this for you guys. I look at this. And I have three more copies if anyone else wants to deep dive on that. And I realize it is circular, but sometimes that's how the law works. So here you go, guys.
Thank you, Jamie.
No
for the investigative work.
Legal research is what I do. Here you go, guys. Anybody else? Yeah, okay. I have one more. Oh, no, two more. You don't. It's really not that much fun.
Pat Ruiz.
Good evening, everyone. I just wanted to let you know that on Friday, May 10th at 10 a.m., I am very excited to announce that the corner of 36th Street at Fifth Avenue, which is right in the corner of PS 958. Recently, that building was named Dr. Antonia Pantoja Building. And we are very excited to have that corner co-named after Dr. Antonia Pantoja. So we hope that you will join us, the councilwoman, the Boricua Festival Committee, APRI, Community Board 7. We did this with the community. I'm very excited, and I hope to see a lot of you there. Flyers will be sent to the community board and distributed to all. Thank you.
Thank you, Pat. Can you repeat the date and time?
Yes, that's on Friday, May 10th at 10 a.m. And after the dedication of the corner, we will also have a dedication of a portrait of Dr. Antonia Pantoja in the vestibule of PS 958.
Thank you so much, Pat. Any other new business? Sorry?
No.
Oh, thank you. I believe we did have one other old business item. And go ahead, Karen.
Right, there were two publications that we've been working on. One of them is the welcome booklet for the homeless families that we distributed that needs to be updated. And the other one is our manual for CB7. The CB7 manual, that's one of our bylaws, has to be updated with the current laws, which have now just been thrown into confusion. Thank you. But I'm looking for at least one volunteer to help me with the text on that and doing the research and everything so that we can present it to the board. So if you're interested in volunteering, please reach out to me through Jeremy. Thanks.
Thank you. And Gabino Morales.
Hi, yes, good evening, everybody. I just wanted to know if there's any updates or any information from the 72nd precinct to see if they could come and speak to us. It's been a long time since we've heard from them. Just wondering if there's any information on that.
Hey, Gabino,
Yes.
you probably didn't see because our camera doesn't face to the back of the room. But the 72nd precinct was here this evening. I offered the floor to them. They didn't have any announcements. But we can ask for representatives to stay for the entirety of the meeting moving forward.
Thank you for that. We'll be coming in for the next meeting. Sorry, I couldn't make it today. Thank you. Thank you.
Should also fun so we can get a camera facing the rear of the room.
Right.
Now, moving on to public comment. Is there any member of the public who wishes to speak on any item they so choose? So I saw a couple of hands up, so I'm going to start over here. Oh, okay. So just give us 1 second.
Who's first to it?
This gentleman with the blue shirt.
Good evening. My name is Michael Ferretti, and I'm here to talk about how the Fifth Avenue Committee has been acting in bad faith throughout the community outreach process of their South Brooklyn Brownfield study. They intend to use the findings of this process to craft a recommendation to the state with little to no input from Sunset Park residents. Their meetings were not well advertised, if at all, and in the case of the final meeting, the flyer went out via email the evening before and was not posted in public places, not even a single subway station. When questioned about this, Gabriel Fernandez, the committee member in charge of outreach, stated that he had just returned from vacation, they did the best they could, and they were only human. I'm a DOE employee. If I failed to give proper notice to an administrator, parent, or caseworker, I would be at risk of losing my job, as with many others in this room. It is evident that they did not want real input, as most residents would need time to ensure their families were cared for in their absence. This unfortunate truth was driven home at the conclusion of the meeting. I spoke with Satna Advani and Michelle De La Uz, their executive director, to inquire when their final recommendations would be sent, and if they could provide us with surveys for residents who could not attend, especially the elderly and homebound. They promised me they would forward these to my work email in the following days, and yet again, they failed to honor their word, and countless residents were neglected yet again. Beyond their bad faith engagement, if allowed to proceed, this will in turn establish a dangerous precedent through which organizations such as the Fifth Avenue Committee ignore the wants and needs of a community to further their own agenda and blatantly deprive residents of the right to have their thoughts considered and represented. We are all here for a reason, to be heard and to fight for positive change. I ask you to stand with us as we continue to question the legitimacy of their findings and seek to force them and other organizations to listen to us rather than step over us. Thank you.
Sir. If you can hand it to the gentleman here, thank you.
Please state your name, sir.
Sure. Just a reminder, it's 3 minutes.
That's more than enough. Hi, everybody. My name is Raphael Schweitzer. I was a civic leader in the Bronx for about a decade. And I got a new venture. It is the 5-borough comic book store tour. Now, I gave flyers to some of you ahead of the meeting. So basically, this is an effort to highlight some of the hidden gems, some of the valuable brick and mortar shops around the 5 boroughs that do so much to contribute to the culture of New York City, and which is at risk always because of the lack of commercial protections for businesses. So the first event will be Saturday, May 4th. We are meeting at Union Square and headed to Forbidden Planet, and then heading up to a couple of stores in Queens. Now, future events will include Brooklyn stores such as St. Mark's Comics, which is on 35th Street, headed by Mitch, as well as Joe Koch Comic Warehouse. Now, this is a warehouse that provides comics and other collectibles for Forbidden Planet, and really has a lot of comic books that they sell all over the world. Unfortunately, I spoke to Joe today, and their landlord is trying to hike their rent a lot, so they may not be in existence. So this is one of the reasons I'm doing this. It's because the comic book stores, it's comic books, it's a vibe. When the store that
Keep going.
the store that tries to preserve culture, promote imagination. It's like a library, but you don't get shushed, you know? Whatever. So I was there earlier today, and we're going to be covering as many comic book stores as possible in the next 4 to 5 months. Sorry, I'm a little tired. I've been going to all the community board meetings around the city. It's a very rewarding process. I enjoy learning about what's going on in every community. I'll ask about the Fifth Avenue organization later, but it's just community boards really need to be empowered and really need to be given more funding as well as other things. So it's the best way to meet people from the community. So I have flyers here. Saturday, May 4th, meeting at Union Square at 1:00 p.m. under the guy on the horse. I think it's George Washington. But cool. Thank you.
Thank you. So this is public comment. So you're free to speak for 3 minutes.
Need the microphone.
Pass the microphone.
Mr. Cologne, 30th Street and 4th Avenue across one of the shelters. Has there been any official protest from the community board or any government official representing Brooklyn regarding the shelter on 25th Street? Since we are already inundated with so many shelters. Do we have any say against this?
So this is public comment. We can take your feedback, and then if you would like to follow up with us, you can do so via email.
Is anyone listening to the protest? We are inundated here in this borough in Sunset Park.
Public comment, so you have 3 minutes.
Okay, that's it.
Thank you. Any other, I see Cynthia and then gentleman up front.
Hello, I want to thank everybody here that helped us make quorum tonight. First of all, I want to say that I've been a member of CB7 since 1983, both as an elected official and as a member of this, a lifelong member of this community. I've lived here all my life. I know that what I have to say probably I could do it in 3 minutes. I'm gonna make that attempt. First of all, since I have joined this board, I have served every single year on at least 5 committees, because if you don't sign up for them, you get assigned to them anyway, or at least they did back in the day. Things have dramatically changed in this community board since I've been involved. First of all, there's the issue of quorum. Now, because committees have been merged, the issue of quorum becomes even bigger, because a lot of the new members that come to join the board, sometimes they don't, first of all, they don't have longevity. I remember back in the day when I used to complain that board members came late and that left early, and they counted as being here, even though they might have been here like 15 minutes. Now we have a second roll call. I didn't hear it tonight, but the bottom line is that things have changed a lot. And for me, what has changed the most, and I had this conversation with the chair, is that I received a letter from Borough President Reynoso encouraging me to leave the board after more than 35 years. Really? I don't count. I'm not valued in this community, because in the letter, I was encouraged to make room for new people that they don't know what this board is about. When they come, maybe they stay 2 months, 3 months, and you never hear from them again. Whether they're appointed or whether they're elected by the borough president or whatever, this is creating a lot of problems for quorum, especially for elderly and disabled people like myself. I made a big effort to come here tonight to voice my opinion and to help out with the quorum. So I am very insulted by the borough president's letter that he sent me. And I decided at that point, when I received the letter, that since I'm not valued here, I'm not going to renew my membership. I will stay on as a community member. I will stay on as a committee member. I don't care if I have a vote or not, because my voice in this community, which I've lived in all my life, is not going to go away because of Borough President Reynoso. This is a total and complete disregard for the institutional knowledge and history of this board, which was witnessed by people like myself, who championed so many causes to save this community from a lot of terrible things that were gonna come here. So the bottom line is that, we don't count. I remember when I came on the board back in 1983, and I survived all of these years, we had a member here whose name was Rick Flores, and he was known as the historian of the community board, and he could go back to everything. He's no longer with us, but we have Beatrice Estapio. She's another historian of this board that has lasted a long time. Unfortunately, people like myself who are disabled, if we don't show up here, we don't have quorum, our votes don't count. This has to stop. This is completely disregarding, the institutional knowledge and the history of this community, with people such as myself and many, many others, some of them in this room. Wyco, these are people that have dedicated themselves to this community, who probably received the same letter that I did. And I feel that that is a disgrace to this borough, to the city, Whoever has those thoughts in their mind, they are wrong because they are making us a zero to the left when we have worked 30, 40 years for this community. Ridiculous. So I am glad to continue being on the board, whether my quorum or my votes count or whatever, but I still have a voice in this community. And I encourage all of the people that received that same letter that I did, that have decided that this is BS and they're not gonna be a part of it anymore, to at least stay and have their voices heard, which I continue to want to do, and I will do it for this community. Because people come here 5 years, ago, 20 years ago. I've been here 67 years fighting for my community as both an elected official and as a member of this board. So that's all I have to say about that. Thank you, everyone.
Okay, thank you, guys. And then I saw a hand over here.
Oh, great. Hi, I'm Richard Coder, and last night, at a large turnout of over 300 people at Holy Name in Windsor Terrace.
Put the microphone to your mouth.
And last night, there was a large turnout of over 300 residents from Windsor Terrace and South Slope. They attended a community meeting hosted by the local group Housing Not High Rise. The clear outcome was that the community overwhelmingly wants
Closer to your mouth.
the Arrow Linen Spot rezoning on Prospect Avenue paused until after City of Yes is approved. 2, the 9 buildings with 36 apartments not owned by Arrow Linen removed from the spot rezoning application. 3, a significant compromise on height if and when the spot rezoning gets approved. And those that represent the community on the City Council and CB7 hear what the overwhelming majority of the community wants and advocate the 3 points just mentioned. This community is very engaged, and CB7 should expect a very large turnout when the Arrow Linen application comes before CB7. Please plan for a large meeting space so all interested parties can attend.
Thank you. Unless we'll send you an invoice. Any other, over there? And I do see some folks in the Zoom with their hands up, so we'll get to you shortly. This person with the navy shirt.
Hi, everyone. My name is John Carlo Roma, and I'm a resident of 37th Street between 4th and 5th. This was alluded to earlier, but in January, the 5th Avenue Committee, which is a local nonprofit, released a plan to build a 125-foot tall affordable housing building on the corner of our block. That's 37th and 5th. As Mike said earlier, they included us not at all in the process, collected no input. Whenever there was a meeting, they did their best to not let us know about it, knowing we'd be against it. When pushed, they've articulated 0 benefits to community members. Of course, as anyone who lives in this area knows, a 125-foot building, which actually goes up 20 feet higher with setback, is completely out of context with the neighborhood. It has absolutely no place in this area. There's nothing within 20 blocks in any direction that's even nearly that high. You go to Industry City, they're not even near that high. There's obviously enormous externalities that come with that are negative, including blocking airflow, light, increasing traffic. And the crux of this is this proposal is only viable with the COI, that's the City of Yes, amendments to the zoning law. So as CB7 reviews it, and it is a 790-page document, so I wish you luck, I looked at it myself. I and my block, we're in daily contact about this. We urge you to not support anything in the COI text that does that. We urge you to not support anything without proper protections for existing contexts of the neighborhood, meaning an 125-foot building should not be on the corner of a residential block where the buildings are 35 feet tall maximum. There needs to be something to keep the neighborhood context. Current zoning laws do that, but City of Yes wants to rip them up, as they say themselves. So Two things, please do not approve anything without proper protections for street wall or neighborhood context to keep the buildings at a reasonable height as the area is already established. And two, City of Yes also allows for no off-site, off-street parking. Parking, as I'm sure everyone knows, is very difficult in these areas. Our block, it's near impossible. Any proposal that says you can build, there's 178 units that are supposed to go up in this monstrous building with no additional parking under the pretext that these people wouldn't have cars. We don't believe that. We think it's a little patronizing to think they wouldn't have cars in the first place. So anything, again, that allows for there to be 178 units with no additional parking, and anything that sets the precedent for a massive 125-foot building to go on a residential block with a diverse set of neighbors that have been there anywhere from this year up until 60 years, we urge you to not support that. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Carrie Moore. I'm a resident of 37th Street. Because the text is now public, the City of Yes Housing Opportunity zoning resolution as proposed is a developer-driven approach to making it easier for large-scale developments to permanently alter every single neighborhood in Sunset Park disproportionately to other communities in Brooklyn. And it is not as described as a little bit in every neighborhood as messaged by DCP. Right now, the proposed South Brooklyn Brownfield Area Nomination Study led by the Fifth Avenue Committee is being submitted to the New York Department of State recommending site concepts for 2 affordable housing developments, both over 100 feet tall, within 1 block of my block on 37th Street between 4th and 5th Avenue. Today, this neighborhood is primarily 2-story homes in which developments of this size not only can't be supported by the existing infrastructure, but it would set a precedent for large developments that would change the character of Sunset Park's historic residential neighborhoods. Developers like the Fifth Avenue Committee understand the financial challenges of building affordable housing at modest scales and are using the government's process to enable the development of affordable housing under the guise of a community engagement process. The Fifth Avenue Committee's process had no meaningful advanced community outreach that allowed the residents of Sunset Park to be informed that the study was happening, in which no flyers were distributed, and email notifications of the scheduled meetings happened only a day or so in advance. In total, the Fifth Avenue's process included input from only 3 public meetings with participation of only 100 Sunset Park residents. That means their recommendations for what the community needs and envisions for our future only captured 0.1% of the community's voice. This approach that gets funding from the city and state won't stop, as large developments will target Sunset Park considering the large volume of low-density housing and manufacturing buildings throughout our community. Developers will be acquiring buildings to develop entire blocks, especially along the avenues as the City of Yes Housing Opportunity zoning resolution is approved as it's currently proposed. The question this community has been asking about why we would develop affordable housing with such density is the wrong question. What we need to be asking is how we can develop affordable housing that contributes to the character of these existing neighborhoods and positively contribute to communities they are in. Our city deserves both. City of Yes, as currently proposed, doesn't give us that. Community Board 7 should take seriously the intentions of a little bit in every neighborhood as they consider the proposed zoning resolutions for affordable housing that allows for massive developments that will destroy existing neighborhoods if they aren't considering truly what each neighborhood needs. And it requires contextual development that does not destroy the character of our neighborhoods and protects the quality of life that every single person in New York City deserves.
Thank you.
I see some hands up on Zoom. Jeremy, can you call them, please?
Miriam Gottfried, you can unmute yourself and you have 3 minutes.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Great, thank you. My name is Miriam Gottfried. I am a resident of 17th Street. I live between 4th and 5th Avenues, just beyond the entrance to the Prospect Expressway. My husband and I want to call your attention to some problems that have been occurring at that entrance. which we are right across the street from. On a regular basis, large semi trucks and flatbed trucks get stuck trying to enter the expressway via this on-ramp because the curve is too sharp for them. And I've learned that they're not actually allowed on the highway at all, but yet they're still coming on. And these trucks are forced back onto the street, causing other cars to have to back up too. And I have like multiple photos and video evidence of this. It happens all the time. Sometimes it happens in the middle of the night. It wakes us up because everybody is honking as the truck backs up into the street. And, you know, this entrance is problematic for a lot of reasons, which I'm sure you're aware of. It was never intended to be a permanent entrance to begin with and is pretty inadequate in its design. It was only going to be temporary and then was never closed when the highway was built. I think it's also, the entrance is dangerous for pedestrians. Cars and trucks come swerving into the on-ramp with little regard for the crosswalk. I've seen many altercations between cars entering the expressway and pedestrians trying to cross the street. And as a parent, I worry about my child's safety walking on the sidewalk of her own street. And it seems like a lot more could be done to protect pedestrians here as well. My long-term goal would be to, you know, have this entrance be closed and have it be moved somewhere else that's not in a residential area. I don't know if that's possible. I've been told that that's been looked at in the past. But I think at the very least, we could start with doing more to prevent these large trucks from trying to enter, and maybe some signage could help. Thank you.
Thank you.
We have Violetta Gomez Uribe next. Violetta, you can unmute yourself.
Hello, good afternoon. Can you hear me? I don't think I can hear anybody.
We can hear you. Hang on.
Hello?
Yes, we can hear you, Violetta.
I can pass if I think I'm having problems.
Okay, we'll come back.
Julia Melzer. I'm sorry, Julia, you can unmute yourself now.
Hi, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay, hi. My name is Julia Harris. I'm a member of the Housing Not High Rises group and also a new member of the Land Use Committee. As the other member noted, last night we hosted a public community meeting with about 300 people in attendance, which is, I think we can all agree, great turnout. And I know there's a lot of interest in this project. We presented on the latest on Arrow's application, the status, how it would be further increased by City of Yes, and our position, and as well as engagement we've been doing over the last 5 or 6 months, including outreach to other civic groups within District 39. So, you know, reaching breadth of, you know, hundreds of thousands of additional supporters who want a better way of doing business with these speculative developments. Councilmember Hanif spoke. She would not take a position on height. She has no issue with you know, glass luxury towers amongst 2- and 3-story building context. She would not commit to the application being certified until after City of Yes is completed, and City of Yes would make the 13-story project 15 stories. She was also unconcerned with our points about tenant displacement risks, despite her self-described work as a tenant organizer. In her words, this is a low displacement risk district, and the 56 rent stabilized units on the block are not worthy of any additional protections by way of removing the apartment buildings from the rezoning. We also acknowledged, yeah.
Please continue.
Sorry. She also acknowledged that the proposal, which has been guided by lobbyists and lawyers, is a hollow proxy plan with no developer and no plans by Arrow Linen to actually build anything. We demand any compromise needs to be with developer at the table with meaningful commitments to the community. Acquiescing to Arrow Linen's proposal just continues the status quo of speculative for-profit private market development. This is a great opportunity to pilot some of the initiatives that Councilmember Hanif and her colleagues, such as Comptroller Lander, are advocating for. A community-centered approach that partners with nonprofit partners to deliver truly affordable housing. Anything over and above the existing zoning for 3 stories is up for negotiation, and now is the time to implement a forward-thinking, community-centered model. We've been clear all along, we want housing, especially truly affordable housing that is considerate of and contextual with our neighborhood and does not erode the urban fabric and vitality of the streetscape and all of the neighbors supporting neighbors that makes our community so special. I had emailed Community Board 7 following the January, I think it was joint land use economic development meeting, where the board agreed to invite Arrow Linen to engage with the community. To date, all we've heard about is behind closed door conversations with political leadership and their lobbyists, and decisions are being made before any engagement with the community. I know there's a ULURP process for this, but as we all know, once things are lined up for ULURP, it's really hard to claw them back. I emailed Community Board 7 on several occasions for them to invite Arrow Linen to present to the community, and we have not heard back. So I would love to hear an update on that. Thank you.
Thank you.
Let's try Violetta Gomez Uribe again. Violetta, you can unmute yourself.
Thank you, Jeremy, and thank you everybody for your patience. I'm sorry I was having some technical issues. Violeta Gomez Uribe here, longtime resident of Sunset Park, but today I'm here to present myself as the new Community and Government Relations Specialist of Metro Plus Health. Metro Plus Health is a nonprofit healthcare plan that is fully owned by New York Health and Hospitals. We serve over 700,000 New Yorkers, mainly working class New Yorkers. And so I'm here to introduce myself as that, also to share that I am able to partner up with organizations and events, community organizations, elected officials. It doesn't have to be necessarily health related, but we have resources that we can provide the community. And as a Sunset Park resident, I'm really happy to be able to bring these resources to Sunset Park. I will put my information in the chat. If anybody wants to reach out to me, please feel free. And that's all. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Violetta, and it's good to see you or hear you.
Thank you.
I should say.
Thank you. Likewise.
Any other public comment? Sir in the blue Mets sweater that I won't hold against you. Yeah, that's fine.
Hello, my name is Stanley Carroll. I live on 37th Street, another one, and I've been there since 1960. I live in the house I grew up in. So it's always good to see somebody who's been in this community and can appreciate it longer than I can. I want to thank you for all the work you've done in helping this community. As everybody else has said much more eloquently than I have, a tower is going up on 37th Street, or they want to have one. I need 2 hands, I got a tremor. Yeah, I could. A tower is going up on 37th Street that's supposed to set the template for buildings across the community. Now, between the City of Yes and the Fifth Avenue Committee, this is what they plan to do. They have an idea for our neighborhood that I don't know if it's really including us in it, if they want to ask us what's going to happen. I guess the only thing I really want to ask, if there are people on this board who are also members of the Fifth Avenue Committee or other development corporations, will they recuse themselves when they have to vote on this? And I understand this is a comment and I'm not getting an answer, but that's really all I want to say. So we will be around, for your next few meetings. Thanks a lot. We'll get involved now.
Thank you. Any other public comment?
Hello there. I'm Joe Tuttle. I live on 26th Street between 4th and 5th Avenue. I've been part of this community district for 10+ years, living in Brooklyn for. It's already been brought up, this proposal on 25th Street. It sounds like we don't know a lot about what's going to happen there. But we do know some things for sure. We know that a man named David Leviton purchased that building. The New York Times called him one of the top 10 worst New York City landlords in terms of violations. So it's surprising that we would even consider some of our most needy populations in the hands of a person like this. Not to mention that within a 5-block radius of this proposed site, there are already 7 other homeless shelters. We are here to help. I think just this room shows the beautiful diversity of this community and how we're here to help. Our generosity extends beyond many other community districts in Brooklyn. In fact, we house almost 14 shelter beds per 1,000 residents in our community districts, way above the average of all the other Brooklyn community districts, when in fact, there are multiple community districts in this borough who house 0. Our hearts are big here, but maybe it's time for others in our borough to step up and participate in their of what's necessary to keep this community going. So I'd like to know what we can do, and it sounds like maybe we don't know yet, what we can do to find an equitable solution to this, because I can tell you the proposal on the table is not equitable. Now, we've set up an association. We'd love people to sign the petition, call themselves the Greenwood Heights Association. Obviously, it extends way beyond that area. It includes all of this wonderful community district. So if you'd like to have some flyers, please see me afterwards, grab a flyer. We'd love to sign the petition. I think, community involvement is the only way to stop these multi-million-dollar slumlords from taking over our community. Thank you.
Thank you.
Nancy Branton, you can unmute yourself. Nancy, I see you're unmuted, but we can't hear you.
I'm having problems.
We could hear you now.
Yes, I'd like to also add my concern about the 10-story building that's potentially proposed for 37th Street. My biggest concern is that it would open the floodgates to other 10-story buildings that are for profit. And we all know that the view from Sunset Park is probably one of the best in the city. And are we prepared to have 10-story buildings directly in front of the park? Like 4th Avenue between 1st and 16th Street, there have been 10 to 15 new buildings built in the past 8 years, and I can see the same thing happening on 5th Avenue. And all the 2- and 4-story buildings that are there right now would be picked up by developers. And the next thing we know, all of the 5th Avenue businesses along there would no longer be 4-story buildings. So it's a slippery slope. And that's my greatest concern. Thank you for listening.
Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any other public comment? Okay. Thank you. Before we adjourn, I did want to make a quick plug for the upcoming meetings, because we did hear a lot of public comment that are related to housing, City of Yes, and transportation. That's how true it is. April 24th is an upcoming housing committee meeting. May 1st is an upcoming transportation committee meeting, and there will be a land use committee meeting, date TBD, May 6th. So I encourage members of the public to attend those upcoming meetings. Seeing no other item on the agenda, would like to entertain a motion to adjourn. So made by Cynthia, seconded by Jerry. Without objection, the meeting is adjourned. Have a good night, everyone.